And so this is why the Eagles are elite. They write a huge check with most of the money up front, meaning they can escape by year 2. I don't think they'll want to, but running back Saquon's been hurt. They can get out of it. This is what Arizona, Chicago, Cincinnati, that is the space those guys don't operate in. They did this with Carson Wentz. Philly takes big swings, and they write big checks up front. And so they can get out of stuff. And the Saquon deal is a massive check. And until the Raiders recently got a couple of new investors, they couldn't write these checks. Chicago doesn't write them. Cincinnati doesn't write them. Arizona doesn't write them. I mean, all legendary poker players, every Phil Hellmuth down, is they are selectively aggressive. They do not always have the best hand. You gotta be aggressive. And I think the heart and soul. Remember, Howie Roseman, this is a team that got to a Super Bowl, and they win a Super Bowl, and everybody wants to bring everybody back. And I'm not a fan of that. I think you got to keep moving the roster in professional football to keep everybody fresh. I think they're going to move off like 7 or 8 guys. You cannot move off Saquon Barkley. There are 3 or 4 players on the Eagles you can't duplicate. You can't duplicate Jalen Carter on a rookie contract. You cannot replace Saquon Barkley. Even Derrick Henry's not this. So the soul of the Eagles to me is GM, O-line, quarterback, Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Carter. And there was this ridiculous narrative that was happening for about a year ago. Running backs, they're going extinct. No, they're not. The most important football games in this league are played in December, January, and February. It gets cold and windy, and nobody is more valuable to a quarterback than a great running back. And what I love about Saquon Barkley, among other things, class, quiet, head down. I mean, this guy played bad O-lines at Penn State, bad O-lines with the Giants, never complained a single time. He does it the right way, so I could not be happier for Saquon Barkley. And I know a lot of people out there, running backs a dime a dozen. No, they're not. No, they are not. The O-line as a collective is really the centerpiece of the team. But when Saquon didn't have a great O-line, he was still remarkable. And all the smart people knew it. So, I had said this, people get worked up, certain positions don't get paid. If you're a great tight end, if you're a great guard, Joe Thuney, he got paid. Guards don't make any money. Joe Thuney got paid. You'll get paid. Safeties don't get paid. Ed Reed got paid. Ronnie Lott got paid. You'll get paid if you're great. Now, there's other positions where you don't have to be great. You can be Brock Purdy and good and get paid. But that's just the way the game works. There's some positions, if you're a good left tackle, the Rams have a good left tackle, you get a lot of money. Running back, you got to be great. Saquon Barkley is. And with that, our friend Rachel Nichols, Fox Sports NBA analyst, is joining us on the show. I never try to be a homer, but, as a Warrior and Laker guy, it is good living right now.
Good time to be in California and be a basketball fan, right?
It is. So I want to talk about Jimmy Butler. So before they made the move, I watched a lot of Warrior games. And I had said, man, when Steph Curry's not on the floor, this team is boring.
Yeah.
And they're charging a lot for tickets. The standard's very high. And like you got to keep moving. Like the San Francisco Giants didn't. They're kind of irrelevant. Like, you got to make a move. So I think there were people in the league that thought, Jimmy's noisy. Jimmy's past his prime. And I kept saying, just get his energy in the building. I wonder if the Warriors privately are a little surprised how perfectly he's fit.
I mean, I think they're thrilled. We know that they were going after Kevin Durant that week, so he wasn't even their first choice. But he's turned out to be a better fit. Jimmy Butler says, one of the things about me is I fit in everywhere. And I think that is true. And he's been able to fit in there so well seamlessly basketball-wise. But as you point out, it's also energy and culture-wise. He might not be the stereotypical runs on joy Golden State Warrior, but he is that sort of character energy guy that this team has been known for. You know, Draymond Green put it this way, Colin. He said, we needed another a-hole. Although it's Draymond, so he did not use the word a-hole. You can just fill in what he actually said.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr talked about that, too, last night, that he just has given Steph Curry more energy because Steph knows when he goes to the bench, someone else is going to be out there. He doesn't have to do everything by himself.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen the effect of all of that. And they are a real force now in the West, which wasn't true at the turn of the year.
Yeah, it's, I said this earlier. Los Angeles sort of forces you as a franchise to be aggressive. The Lakers have been aggressive with Westbrook, didn't work. Aggressive with AD and Luka works. The Dodgers win a World Series and spend $450 million more dollars on players. The Clippers feel scared because it's like, okay, they're stagnant. Stagnant status quo doesn't work in LA. If you're good in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, that's good enough. It's not here. And so I look at the Lakers and Luka. I think it's a honeymoon period. But I'm watching them the last couple of games without a Rui and a Reeves. I mean, come on now. I don't think it's crazy. I did this yesterday. I did my NBA championship bubble.
Yeah.
And I always worry about being like recency bias or confirmation bias. I think the Lakers, I don't know if they can beat Boston. I think they can win the West. Here's my bubble. Radio audience, I put Denver, Lakers, Warriors, OKC, Cleveland, Boston, I think are the two best teams. Knicks on the outside. Any problem having the Lakers in it?
Oh, I don't have a problem having the Lakers in it. I feel, as much as this pains me because I'm a huge Nikola Jokic fan of just what he can do on the court, I'm not sure the Nuggets are actually in the bubble. But I like your optimism. There you go. I do think you're completely right with your other teams there. And it's just going to be interesting. I mean, Steph Curry playing the way that he is, to your point.
Yeah.
I would never have imagined Golden State in that bubble just a couple months ago. I mean, they were barely scraping a play-in spot.
Kuminga's not playing.
Right?
And the one thing they miss is length.
Exactly.
And so Kuminga's got a bad ankle. I think he's back in the next week. So, folks, this team is – the Lakers are getting Reeves and Rui back, and the Warriors are getting Kuminga back.
Absolutely. I do want to make one Steph Curry point, and then we can dovetail into the Lakers. You know, I think the control room has the Steph Curry shot from before. We've been talking about a week, right? That shot before the Orlando halftime against the Orlando Magic. That is a shot that most players in the NBA run from, right? It's the end of the half. It messes with your shooting percentage. There's a thing in the NBA about, hey, pass it to the rookie right before the buzzer at halftime so his shooting percentage can get messed up. Steph always goes for that shot. He always wants that shot. And you have a player like that who always wants to take that shot because he could make it. And that turned into a 56-point performance for him. Those are the guys I want in your playoff bubble, in your finals contention bubble. Teams that have that. They have that in Steph Curry, which is why you never count the Warriors out as long as Steph's on the court. The Lakers have that in Luka and LeBron. Those guys are not scared. And when it comes to the playoffs, you said you may have recency bias. Recency bias is part of the NBA. It's how you are playing toward the end of the regular season and then going into the playoffs that are the teams that should be in your bubble. Your recency bias is correct because the Lakers have those kinds of guys. They have the best record in the NBA since the middle of January. Top 5 on both sides of the ball. In fact, they have the best defense in the entire league.
Isn't that crazy?
Since the beginning of
January.
January.
They lose AD. They acquire Luka, who's always been a bit of a defensive liability, and they're as good a defensive team.
And Luka can play defense when he needs to, and there you go.
So the J.J. Redick hire is interesting because there was a lot of pushback on. He didn't have a lot of experience, which I always think that's a bit overrated.
I mean, no experience.
Yeah, I mean, none. And he's LeBron's pod partner. But it's hard for me.